Hey friends, welcome back to our channel. I'm Angie and it is officially Christmas time. I am so excited, and you can see in the background behind me that things are a little bit topsy-turvy as we bring down the bins and the Christmas trees and try to get things decorated around here. I am so excited for this season and I cannot wait to share it with y'all. In today's video, I'm going to be sharing some of my favorite DIY ornaments that I've created over the years, and I use them year after year. I'm going to put them all together in one video so that they're more organized and easier to find, and hopefully it will bring you some inspiration if you want to create your own ornaments for your own Christmas tree or maybe to gift to friends and family. So without further ado, let's get on with the video. For this project, you need a pack of clear ornaments. These are plastic. You can also use glass. And I found mine at Hobby Lobby. Christmas is half off right now. But I also saw a 2-pack of these at Dollar Tree for $1.25. You also need paint in the color of your choice. I chose this pretty blue color. You'll also need a paintbrush. I found this at Dollar Tree. There's a 2-pack in here. And you're also going to need some baking soda to use on your ornaments, 2 paper plates, and you also need something to protect your surface. I'm using this old cereal box, and you'll also need some ribbon and some scissors. You also need some sort of drying station for your ornaments. I just poked skewers in a cardboard box, and this worked out well for me to allow my ornaments to dry completely. We'll add a little bit of paint to our first paper plate, and we're going to take the top off of our ornament and we're going to put it aside because we're going to do something with it a little later. And then we're going to paint a coat of paint on our ornament, and just do some thin layers of paint for the first coat. And you will be able to see some brush strokes, but don't worry about that because we're going to fix that in another step. But just focus on painting your ornament. I did use the skewer inside the ornament to help me hold it. This helped me out a lot and to help me not to get paint everywhere. But just continue painting until your whole ornament is painted. And then you can set it to dry. And if you have a station like I do with skewers, you can just place it there to dry, or you can just sit it on its tip to dry. Either way works out well. And then continue painting all the rest of your ornaments and then set them up to dry. After the first coat of paint is dry on your ornaments, we'll go ahead and add a second coat of paint. This will cover up some of your brush marks and give more coverage on your ornament. After you finish your second coat of paint and the paint is still wet, we will do the next step, which makes these ornaments look like faux velvet ornaments. We'll just put a little bit of baking soda in our second paper plate, and we'll just sprinkle it all over the ornament, and the wet paint will help it to stick on the ornament. Just sprinkle the baking soda all around the ornament, making sure that you cover the whole ornament with baking soda. And then after you do that, we're going to move to the next step and make this ornament look like faux velvet. It's a really neat technique that you do, and it is so beautiful when you finish it. I love this technique, and I would just love to do all colors of ornaments doing the baking soda and making the ornaments look like faux velvet. You can buy the velvet ornaments in the store. A lot of times they're already sold out, but with this way you can make ornaments the color that you want for your Christmas tree. So it's a really nice technique and ornament that you can make. After I sprinkle the baking soda, I just put it up to dry just a little bit, and I go ahead and start painting on my other ornaments and sprinkling the baking soda. And then I just put them up all to dry for just a bit, and then I want it dry to the touch, and then I'll take the ornaments and I will brush off the baking soda. So I'm using this paintbrush. You can use any kind of brush, but just lightly brush off the baking soda, and some of it will stay behind because it is sticking to that paint that was wet when you applied the baking soda, and it just gives the faux velvet look. So you just keep dusting the ornament until you're happy with how it looks. This is how mine turned out, and I can't believe how much it looks like velvet. I love this blue color. It is so pretty. Then for the tops of the ornaments, I will just use some of my Rub and Buff and just brush the tops of the ornaments. And this makes them look a little bit more high end, and it also makes them that gold color that I love with this dusty blue color. And then I just pop the tops back on, and this is what they end up looking like. Such a beautiful DIY. You have faux velvet ornaments for inexpensive, and they are so beautiful. You can do any color you want for your Christmas decor, and I just love how this DIY turned out. Our next tutorial is a DIY Mercury glass ornament. These look high-end, but they are so simple to create. So let's get started. For this DIY, you're going to need clear ornaments. I picked mine up at Hobby Lobby, but you can find these at most any craft store. And then I'm also using a solution of half water, half vinegar in a spray bottle. And then you also need Rust-Oleum mirror effects. So this gives your ornaments the look of Mercury glass, so you really need the spray paint. And then I'm using metallic brass, and I also have this metallic gold. You need some type of metallic spray paint because this is what's going to show through your ornament. So you can either use gold or silver. I also have some skewers poked into some floral foam, and this will help in my drying process. And then you also need your hair dryer to help with the drying process. To begin this project, remove the ornament top and put it aside to use later. Then take your mirror effect spray paint and give the inside of your ornament a couple of light sprays, just enough to coat all of the sides of the ornament. And then gently swirl it around so the paint moves and covers evenly. Immediately after spraying your mirror effect spray paint into your ornament, take your vinegar and water solution and spray it right into the ornament. Again, give it a good swirl so all the sides are touched. Then I like to use my hair dryer to speed things up, and you just need a quick blast of your hair dryer. You don't want it completely dry, and leaving a little moisture helps create that authentic Mercury glass texture, so just a little bit of heat will help. But just be careful, the ornament will warm up quickly, so make sure you don't burn your hands or your fingers. Drain out the excess liquid from your ornament on a paper towel, and then set it aside on your drying station to dry. And then after about 30 minutes, this is what they'll look like, and they're already so pretty. Now this next step is optional, but it adds just the right amount of glam. I set all of my ornament tops in a little cup and gave them a light coat of metallic gold spray paint. Then I let them dry in the box. Once your ornaments are dry, grab your gold metallic spray paint again and give the inside of each ornament a couple of quick sprays. And you want to turn the ornament as you go. It usually takes about 4 little bursts of gold metallic spray paint to hit all the sides of the ornament, and then you can just add them back to your drying station after you finish this step. After these dry, you could stop here and simply add the painted tops, but you know me, I always like to take things up one more notch. So we're going to take our ornament tops, we're going to add a dab of plain white glue to a paper plate, and then we're going to brush a light coat onto each ornament top. And like I said, this step is completely optional, but I think that if you gift these ornaments, this would make it look a little bit more high-end and special. So I would do this step because it just adds a little bit more glam and beauty to these ornaments. So after you add the glue to the top of the ornaments, we're going to take this silver glass glitter. This glitter is my favorite because it instantly gives the ornaments that high-end vintage sparkle. And we're just going to put a little bit onto the glue, and we're going to shake off the excess and save the glitter for the next ornament top. After I'm done, I like to use my paper plate as a funnel and add the excess back into my bottle so that none of my glitter is wasted and I can use it on more DIY projects. That's it. Beautiful vintage inspired Mercury glass ornaments that look like they came from a boutique, but you made them right in the comfort of your own home. Next, we are making the sweetest vintage-inspired dried hydrangea ornaments. These are such a simple DIY, but they look absolutely beautiful on the tree. You'll just need a few things to get started. A ribbon of your choice. I'm using a rich red velvet for these. And some clear ornaments. I picked mine up at Hobby Lobby, but any craft store will have these, and even Amazon. Gather your dried hydrangea blooms and gently pluck off a few petals. And then add them right into your ornament. You can use as many or as few petals as you would like. This is one of those projects that you can really make your own. If you would like a little extra shimmer on your hydrangea blooms, you can even spray paint the petals gold before adding them into your ornament. It gives the ornament such a soft, elegant glow, and it's an easy way to just go an extra step and bring a little bit more glam. When you're happy with how full your ornament is, we're going to dress up the tops of the ornament. This part is completely optional, but I love how it elevates the whole look of the ornament. I'm mixing a bit of gold rub and buff with a touch of black paint, and this creates an aged brass finish. It gives the tops that antique, time-worn charm that feels so high-end. So after you do this step, just set them aside and let those tops dry completely. Once the tops are completely dry, just pop the tops back onto your ornaments and finish them off with your ribbon. And that's it, a simple natural DIY that looks like it came from a boutique. I even added a little dried baby's breath to a few of mine, and they turned out beautifully. This is such a lovely way to bring a bit of the garden into your Christmas decor. For this DIY, you'll need a measuring tape, twine, ribbon, or string, a Sharpie, some beautiful ornaments. I got these from Amazon that I'll link below, and a pair of scissors. So let's get started making this easy garland. So the first thing you need to do is decide how long you want your garland. I have this bead garland that I'm using along with my DIY garland, and so I just laid a piece of twine down beside my bead garland and determined the length of it, and then I just cut it the same length as my bead garland. Now keep in mind that it will end up being a little shorter than you cut it because of loops and ties and all the things that go into it, so keep that in mind when you're cutting it. So the first thing you want to do is loop the end of your twine. So this is going to take some of the length off, but you need this to hold your garland when you hang it up. If you're putting your garland in a bowl, you don't necessarily need this, but if you're hanging it up, this will really help to attach it to whatever it's going on. Now make a loop on the other side of your twine, and after you finish this, you're ready to start your garland. Next, you want to spread your twine all the way out so that you can get a good measurement of it, and grab your measuring tape and line it up past the loop because you don't want to measure that part. And I measured my ornaments to be 6 inches apart. So I just went down my measuring tape and marked 6 inches with my Sharpie on my twine. And this will help you later to know where the placement of your ornaments go, and then you don't have to stop and keep measuring. So just line your twine up, and every 6 inches make a mark on your twine, or whatever distance you want your ornaments. 6 inches was perfect for me, but you can play with it and figure out what distance you want it to be. I just did this all down my twine, all the way down to my other loop, and then when I finish that, I'm ready to make my garland. Now you take your ornament that you're going to be working with and you string it onto that loop. And then after you get it on, you take it down to that first mark, and then you just tie a knot in that spot. So when you see that mark, just tie a knot, and this will hold your ornament in place. So now you have to go down to the opposite end of your twine, and you have to start stringing ornaments that way because you can't get an ornament over this side. So now that you're on the opposite end of your twine, you just take your ornament and you're going to string it on your twine all the way down to this first ornament that you've threaded onto your twine. And then you'll just work your way back to the end of this loop. So you just go down to your second mark, put your ornament in place, and tie a knot. This will hold it all in place so that your ornaments don't shift around and slide. When you finish stringing all of your ornaments, then you can just hang your garland up on your mantle, on a cabinet, or you can just display these in a beautiful bowl. I put these on our mantle a few years ago, and I absolutely love the way it turned out. Well friends, that about wraps up this video. I hope that you enjoyed it, and I hope that you were inspired to create some of your own ornaments. They were a fun DIY, they were inexpensive, and they look beautiful on the tree as well as a gift for a friend. As always, thank you so much for watching. If you're new to our channel, please hit that subscribe button, as I'll have more Christmas content coming your way. I look forward to seeing all of y'all in the next video. Bye-bye!